Welcome. This is an introduction to General Physics 1. I'm B.J. Bateman. I have my PhD in physics, Texas A&M, 1970. My research expertise is cosmic radiation for my PhD, health physics or radiation safety at Argonne National Labs for about 5 years in the summertime, and space plasma physics, working with NASA at Huntsville for approximately 5 summers. I'm an educator primarily, and so I'm not currently actively doing any research. Okay, I want to welcome you to General Physics. I know that you have heard rumors about how nasty this course is, about how hard it is, and let me put your mind to rest. Everything you heard is true. All the rumors are true. This is perhaps the hardest course you're going to have to take. The only courses that fall in the same category here would be statistics, organic chemistry, and perhaps the accounting courses in business. So you can expect to work hard this semester. You're going to be assigned approximately 10 to 20 problems a week to 2 weeks, and you need to get those done. You don't have to turn them in to me, but you need to be able to work the problems. So whenever I ask you a problem similar to that on your test, you'll be able to show me that you know how to work the problems. Let me tell you how your grade is going to be established. I've already said we're going to assign you homework problems. We will pull one problem at random every week to 2 weeks from the homework, and you will work that problem in class with no notes. You won't know about it until you get in class. So when you come to class, we will pick the problem in a random manner, and you will then work the problem here. You'll need to bring your textbook with you here, or if you don't have the access to the textbook easily, then you can photograph it from my textbook and then read the photographs here. We're fairly easy with electronic devices in class during these particular exams, since you know where they're coming from. Okay, those exams will count 10 points. We'll have approximately 7 of those exams. We could have more. We will also have then major exams, 2 to 3 major exams. They'll count 100 points each. The major exams will have mixtures of very easy problems and questions on the exams. Could be multiple choice, could be short answers, could be essay, could be fill in the blank, but mainly problems. You're going to have to show me that you know how to solve the physics problems in order to get a reasonable grade in this class. Okay, some of the problems will be very difficult. On those, you may not be able to arrive at the correct numerical answer. However, if you set the problem up mathematically and you have the numbers plugged in the right spots, or most of the numbers plugged in the right spots, then you will get partial credit. Typically, the credit will be in one of 2 ranges: 1/4, 3/4. I'm sorry, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, or 1/3, 2/3, and of course 100%, depending upon you do it. How many points that you will get per test or per problem will depend upon my mood. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but we're all human beings and we all have subjective patterns. Students will usually ask me, how hard is the test going to be? And I'll say, well, it depends upon the phase of the moon, what I had for supper, how much money my kids have asked me for, and how many students have asked the question, how hard will the exam be? So all those play a factor onto your exam here. Now, if you work and uh, ask questions in class, then you have every reasonable expectation of coming out of the class with a reasonable grade. If you don't, then it's bye-bye. That's all we have to say there. Now, how do you get your letter grade? Well, your letter grade will be established based upon the number of points that you earned divided by the number of points you could have earned. So you have, let's say, 70 points for your homework quizzes. Let's say 200 points for your major exams. That'd be 270. The final exam will count 150 points. And so if you add all those up, let's say 200 plus 100 would be 350, plus 70 would be 420. So you'll have in the vicinity between 400 and 500 points. So however many points you earn out of that possibility will be your percentage here. If you make in the 90%, you'll have an A. If you make in the 80%, you will have a B. If you make in the 70%, you'll have a C. And 60% D. And anything less than that, you'll have an F. I've been asked, do I scale the grades? And the answer is, I have scaled the grades in the past. I have also not scaled the grades. As a rule of thumb, if 10% of the class, which in this class is 5 or 6 students, make 90% or better, then there will not be a scale. So don't expect a scale. We could have one. Now, we mentioned the final exam. Do not schedule your leaving time from campus to be before the final. I do not have the authority to give you permission to take the final early. My chair can only do that, and you have to have a legitimate reason to do that. You just can't come up here and say, my flight is leaving early. Here, you'll have to come in and give a better reason for that. My National Guard has called me up. I broke my arm and I won't be able to come to class. You know, that one usually works pretty good, especially if you come in with a sling on here, or any other legitimate university reasons. We can probably get that done. However, in most of the cases that you may be better off to take an incomplete, but that's debatable. We can discuss that as the time permits. Okay, what about makeups? Suppose you can't make all these chapter quizzes. Well, the chapter quizzes or the homework quizzes are designed. If I use the word chapter and homework, it's interchangeable. Excuse me on that. A homework quiz is designed to encourage you to prepare yourself regularly. If you don't, then that's not something that I'm going to get upset about, but I will get upset about it if you haven't done it. You come to me and say, I need some help at the end of the semester. I'll look down and say, well, you didn't do the homework. How come you didn't come in earlier? Okay. You are given 3 misses on the homework. I'm sure you're going to be sick one of those days. If you are throwing up, please don't come to class. I don't want to get that mess. Nobody else does either. If on the way to class you end up skidding and spinning around, and while you're not hurt, your car's not wrecked, you can't hold a cup of coffee without getting yourself wet, don't take that test that day. If you had a migraine headache that morning, don't do it. But you have 3 freebies in that sense. If you miss more than 3, then you're going to have a legitimate excuses for those that you've missed in order for me to grant you permission to go ahead and do that. You're going to have to be required to be out by the university. And all you have to do for that is, if you're required to be out, you keep your sheets. If you're in the band or the football team or the basketball team, ROTC or whatever it is, if you have to go on a field trip, you keep that, and then we can come back in and we can justify you doing the makeups or not doing the makeups, but giving those grades. Now, I say in the syllabus that a makeup will be a comprehensive makeup will be given for these. I have changed that, but I haven't written it down. The final exam percentage will be what we'll use for your makeup for those. So basically this, if you make 90% on the final exam, then you'll be given 9 out of 10 for every 0 that you have that was a legitimate makeup. If you make 70%, you'd be given 7 out of 10 for those that will happen. So you don't have to worry too much about your homework quizzes. For your major exams, you must notify me within 1 week of the day that the exam was given here in order to get permission to make it. Otherwise, then you will have to take the final exam percentage to replace it. So you have 1 week to set up. It's not my responsibility to contact you. It's your responsibility to contact me on that to make that makeup there. I'm fairly easy on that. I'm not real strict here, but I do not want you to miss if you can take it. It's hard to make up makeup exams, and if I have to make up a makeup exams, just because it's hard to have to do that, you can probably bet the exam is going to be more difficult just because I'm having to do extra work. Not because I'm doing it on purpose, but you just think about it in your own life, what you would do. Like, you can try to make it easy, but there's no way to guarantee that. Okay, you must take the final exam, as we said earlier, at the scheduled time for the final exam. We'll go over that in class a little bit later on. I don't have those numbers there in front of me at this particular time, but that's something that we got several weeks before we have to worry about the final exam. Okay. Do I give points for attendance or for being absent? The way I do that is I give pop test. The pop tests do not count against you, but you can earn up to typically 4 or 5 points depending on the pop test that go to not to your percentage now, not to your percentage, but to your total points earned. So if you have 300 points earned and you got a pop test and it's worth 5 points, you would have 305 points out of the possible, let's say 500 at that time. So it's roughly 1 percentage point here for everyone. How many do I give? Typically less than 5. Usually 1 or 2, but typically less than 5. No guarantees on that particular thing. Okay, now I think we have covered. Let me take for just a moment and glance at the information that I normally go over here. I think we've covered everything. Let's see here. Final exams. Okay, if you need to do it incomplete, you better ask me for it. I will not do it automatically. We've covered absences. We've covered makeup. Okay, you may use electronic devices in the classroom for regular lectures and for the homework quizzes. With the exceptions, your phones must be turned off during any exam, and they must not be on the table. You may not use your phone for a calculator. You must bring a separate calculator in. I do not always have extra calculators available. There's sometimes some in the front desk up here, but that's only because students left them there and they may come back and claim them here. So no electronic devices during major exams. You may have your phone out during the homework exam if you have taken a photograph of the homework problem from the textbook. Okay. I would ask any questions, but of course I can't get an answer right now. So if you have any questions, make a note, and if I get to class again, it should be on Friday, then ask the questions at that time. Now, your textbook. Your textbook is College Physics. It's the first edition by Uron, Hendricks, Durka, Sharma out of the Rice University. But this is from, the textbook is in what's called OpenStax. The PDF of that textbook is free, from what I understand, unless it's changed the last time here. I have both the PDF version. I have an electronic version for my iPad, which I paid for, just like you would have to do. And then I have the hardbound textbook that the university has furnished me here. You may use any of those that you want to. You may use a used book. You may use the book that's fallen apart or one that's been taped together. And if all you have is the homework assignment out of the textbooks, and you're using another textbook from some other university on the same material, I'm not going to insist that you have exactly that. But the homework problems will come out of our textbook. I would encourage you to read and examine other sources to get a different viewpoint on it, especially to look at their examples. Also, use of the internet. And you say, give us some URLs. Well, the URLs change. So you can do a search for Physics I practice test or exam questions, and you may find out where some other university has posted up a practice test here. For several years ago now, I had a student, it said, Dr. Bateman, how can I study for the final exam? And of course I told him, examine all the material, work all the homework problems again, look at all my tests. And he said, well, I've done that. Is there anything else I can do? And I told him to go to the internet and look. Well, when he turned his exam in, he said, Dr. Bateman, would you believe I found 4 problems that were almost exactly to what you had on the final exam. They were the same basic type problem. So if you go out and look, you may find something out there that'll help you. I can't guarantee it, but I would definitely look at that up. Okay. Now, when we begin the class, I will ask you to, first thing, do you have any questions? And we'll take the first 5 or 10 minutes of the class to answer any questions that you may have. We'll work problems. We'll work some of the homework problems. Excuse me. We can talk about current events during that time period. If there's been something that you saw and you want to ask me about or ask my opinion about, if I know anything about it, I'll try to explain it. I'll try to explain the physics behind it. So we have periods of time there which you can ask me. My office hours are in the syllabus. There will probably be more times than that because my health has recovered where I will be able to be here more. In case you didn't know, or you probably don't, I had a knee replacement in May and another and the previous one in December. So I'm technically the bionic man now. The other thing you may notice is that sometimes I squint. My left eye tends to close a little bit. The reason being is that case is I have had a surgery there and they had to do a retina peel. Ever so often now I have to get an injection into that eye. And I know it doesn't hurt. They numb the eye through here, so there's an aggravation, but it does not hurt. They had the same thing on the right eye. The right eye is completely healed. The only problem I have is that the retina on the right eye is distorted. The retina on the left eye may have some distortion, but I'm not sure yet on that. So whenever I look at you out of my right eye, you look like you've been painted by Picasso. So it's will. But anyway, if I know I look funny, but that makes me look funnier as we go on. Now I have to be careful. I don't want to bend over here. The light might, the glare off the top of my head may get you there. So we'll be nicer on that particular part there. If things have gone right, I have already sent you a copy of the syllabus. I'm also using Canvas, and your assignments are posted in the syllabus I sent you and in Canvas. The syllabus is also posted there. Your grades will be posted there also. So you'll be able to, whenever I enter the grades, you'll be able to see what they are as soon as I get them entered. This will take a little bit of stress off of you worrying about your grades and not being able to find me. Sometimes I'm pretty hard to find here. Now, if you have a question for me after hours, please feel free to call me. Phone number is 672-3572. It's in the syllabus, 672-3572. I simply ask that you not call me past 10 o'clock at night here. I may be still up, but I'll be in a foul mood, okay? Don't want to snap your head off at that time, especially if I think you're trying to sell me something. I get those quite a bit now, even with a cell phone. I'm sure you do too. I'm a little bit new at using Canvas, so there may be some errors we come across there. If you have a problem there, your best way to contact me is either with an email. An email, of course, is bbateman@troy.edu. My cell phone does accept text messages, so you can text me. Whenever you contact me, please introduce yourself. Give me your section you're in, and then proceed with the question. Quite often I'll get an email, and then I have to go back and look the student's email address up, and then look for them in the section they're in, and that can be a very aggravating thing, and you don't want to aggravate the instructor whenever you're trying to get on his good side here. Okay, now, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them on the next class period. If you're viewing this after the first week of class, we're supposed to schedule to meet August 15th, but if you join the class late, I'm going to ask you to read this. Then, as soon as you come to class, ask whatever questions you have, and typically, probably after class, or come by during the office hours posted on the syllabus. If you work hard, then we can expect for you to have a reasonable grade. If you don't work hard, then you're going to be in trouble. You need to work on your math, and which includes algebra and trig. Now, we'll introduce the trig functions for you, so if you're a little bit rusty on that, don't worry about it. But you may want to spend some time reviewing algebra. In the meantime, read Chapter 1. Chapter 1 will not be tested on, and that's material that I'm going to assume that you've already been exposed to in high school or somewhere else. Again, if you haven't, and this is let's say the 17th of August, you have a question about that, please feel free to ask me. Okay, I'm going to stop at this point. I hope we haven't done too bad with this homemade movie, but if everything works out, then you should be able to see this anytime you need to review it. Hopefully you won't need to review it hardly any at all. If I've made a mistake here, then verbally, then the written stuff in the syllabus is what we'll go by. Okay, well, I hope you have a good semester and work hard, and hopefully we'll be able to get you a good grade. Or you'll be able to get a good grade. Let's see if I can turn this thing off now. Here we go. Okay, We'll see you guys on the 17th.